How I resolve the issue with the mixed media and the paper and not accepting all of the layers of watercolor that I needed to apply. This is part 2 of how I resolve the issue with the mixed media and the paper and not accepting all of the layers of watercolor that I needed to apply in order for me to do an underpainting, then an overpainting with the color, and then move on to colored pencil. And after the first video, I realized maybe people don't know what an underpainting is, what function does it serve, and like what are the benefits of doing an underpainting. So let me clear that up and tell you exactly what it is. An underpainting is done to help achieve the lowlights and the contrast. It also helps create dimension and shape to your artwork. Many people use a complementary color to their color palette for their underpainting. And sometimes the underpainting color can be a color in your color palette. So let me show you what I'm doing and show you what I often see with other people as far as underpaintings go. This is the color of my underpainting, and so it's the swatch right here. As you can see here, it creates the curves and the dimension of the items. And it also provides the deepest shadows. So here we have a color wheel, and you can see that a large portion of my palette is on this side of the color wheel. And often many artists will use the complementary color as their underpainting. So for example, I often see a lot of artists use oranges and sepia tones for their underpainting. And again, that will create the depth, the contrast, and the just the shape to the items in their artwork to establish a really dimensional piece of artwork. And underpainting does a lot of the heavy lifting for your composition. And so that's what I was going for here. But you can also see that I did not do an underpainting on everything. And the reason was because the underpainting is being reactivated again due to the paper not absorbing the watercolor when I go back in to do color over top of it. So I decided that I would do the objects in the underpainting color that was also close to its color that I was going for anyway. And then the pieces that are not close to the underpainting color, I will just come in and paint in. Like the greens, you can see here, they didn't get an underpainting because it would have just reactivated and muddied. And then these flowers here, I'm just going to go in with their color, with the watercolor, sans underpainting, without the underpainting. And so to achieve that dimension and shape and contrast, I'm going to let my colored pencil be that tool that achieves it. So I will have to go in and do a bit more work with the colored pencil that the underpainting would have done. But that's the best way I figured in resolving this issue of not being able to do an underpainting without reactivating it. I'm on the final step for the coloring process, and this last step is being executed with colored pencil, and I wasn't quite sure what colored pencil I would want to use. My go-to options are Faber-Castell or the Prismacolor, and they both have their own unique qualities that I really love. The Faber-Castell, for example, is just a sturdier lead, or whatever you want to call this, because it's not actually lead. But it doesn't break as easily, and it has a really great color range. Whereas the Prismacolor, they blend so smoothly and seamlessly. They are flawless for smooth finishes, but they don't really give off a texture. Whereas the Faber-Castell, because it's a little harder, it gives you more of a texture grade. But since this was such a smooth paper, I felt like it, a little bit of texture would not hurt. I decided to go ahead and go with Faber-Castell. As you can see, really wide color range. And for the final step, I'm just going back and doing a little bit of enhancing of the line work because it just isn't strong enough of a pop with what you see down here. It looks really muted to me, and I don't want muted. I want interesting and some level of contrast. It doesn't have to be harsh, but this just doesn't quite cut it. I just concluded the lining, and so I think I'm ready to wrap the physical portion of creating the artwork by hand. And so now I'm going to scan everything in, and I will complete the formatting and the layouts via Photoshop. So stick around, come on back to see what the full collection looks like.